Welcome back, ladies and gents, to another episode of Best of 5 with the full crew today. My name is Elon, and as always, it is Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. My name is Elon, and I'm joined by the greatest of the greatest cohorts, fellers, lady, gent, co-host, co-friends, whatever else you want to call them. First,
host is gender neutral. The term host is gender neutral.
My crazy fellow hosts / friends / whatever else. We have the wonderful, multi-talented, amazing DaPurpleSharpie.
It's me.
And the main squeeze, the Ace King offsuit jerk, Steve, who got his vaccine today. Was it today or yesterday?
It was yesterday.
Yesterday.
I'm feeling a little tenderness today. Just a little tenderness.
There's nothing wrong with a little tenderness, Steve.
Except when it's in my heart, because my heart is made of cold steel.
I disagree. Also, hello to everybody. Yeah. Also, hello to everybody in the chat. We got level 100 Charizard, Lord Darkface, and Cozy Cider hanging out. What's up, y'all? Good to see you all back again. Before we start, couple of business things. I gotta cross off the to-do list. Sorry, words are not working today. First, I want to just say that as the only host of Best of 5 who's not engaged, I want to congratulate my other two hosts of Best of 5 for getting engaged. Steve spoiled the surprise by accident a couple weeks ago, and we saw Sharpie announced her engagement on social media couple weeks ago as well, so big congratulations.
Copycats.
The day before my birthday, I was engaged. It was so crazy.
Well, I'm gonna give you both
yeah, everybody. I'm literally 23. Thank you. Yeah.
You know the reason for that is just to double up on gift days, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get a big, or actually no, yeah, that's right. Now you either get a birthday or an anniversary. You don't get both.
My God. No, time out. I'm actually mad right now.
I'm sure that had nothing to do with the thought process. I'm sure he's a swell guy.
Yeah, totally sure.
All the gifts that he can.
We're gonna have a conversation after this podcast. If y'all don't see FGC Dad tweeting in the next year, I didn't do it, but I don't know who did. So don't be coming to me. Nobody knows. It's just okay.
Well, here's the thing too. It's like I feel like if this person is thinking that far ahead, then you're a keeper, right? Because like they're thinking like down the line, like 10, 20 years from now. So it's when you're talking about engagement and marriage.
They play grapplers, like they play for the long game in the immediate moment. Like they play for that one opportunity. That's why I'm terrified, is because this would be classic them. You know? That's why I'm so upset right now. Like, and I'm just trying to put on a good face for the rest of the cast.
It sounds like you already got hit with the command grab, though. You got hit with the SPD.
The set's not over, Elon, okay? I still have health. I don't appreciate everyone out here betting against me just because I get grabbed once, okay?
There's more to the health is going bye-bye. Because you said, I remember you saying, don't talk to you if you get touched twice and you're still living. He got you once. All he needs is one more.
If you touch me 2 times and I'm still alive, don't talk to me. And he did it, bro. I'm so stressed. I may actually die from this. That may be all my health right there.
So first of all, this is the first and possibly last episode with Sharpie as an engaged woman.
It's very likely.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Mr. Sharpie, I apologize. I ain't trying to start no issues.
I'm marrying FGC Dad.
Well, it happens.
FGC,
you know, the greatest of ironies are never written.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, big congrats.
Unless he did write it, but yeah, thank you.
All right. I just realized I still have my... you guys want to see a magic trick? Boom! It's an extra microphone that's attached to my face. I didn't realize that was still there. I have too many microphones. Anyway,
That's the basis of a sitcom right there.
Is it Too Many Microphones? Too many microphones. That's the song.
Too many microphones in the production studio with Elon.
All right.
We are allegedly a fighting game podcast.
We have a lot of stuff we should talk about today. So I think it's time we get right down to it. It has been 10 minutes already. Well, not counting the 5-minute countdown. It's been 5 minutes. Let's get to it. And as always, at the top of the show, we can't do anything else until we get our sweet, sweet old patented recap from the Steve Ace King Officer Jurek. Steve, what happened? Where are we?
A lot of things happened. Obviously, we weren't with you last week, and we apologize for that. We had some things come up last minute. So we've got a couple of weeks of big events to go through. Let's kick it off with a blockbuster of an event, the Spring Blockbuster. This was the first major event in the Skullgirls Championship series. It was, you see some familiar names in there, but it was Cloud who took it over Sonic Fox in a series of close sets. Both of them coming down to the very, very end. Sonic Fox actually dropped it at the end to win it.
10 seconds. 10 seconds in the game. 10 seconds in the game. Sonic won almost 6 straight sets in a game. He won 5 sets straight, 5 games straight. And then it came down to the final 11 seconds. And it was like so stressful.
All right, hold on a second. Anyway, I have this set up so we can still look at the thing now. Welcome to the new shot of Best of 5. Now, I have a couple questions. First, Cloud. Is this Cloud 805? No, right? It's a different Cloud?
No, this is Cloud King. He went by Cloud. His moniker is actually Cloud King, but most people just call him Cloud. Just like we called DaKillSage Sage and Sonic Fox Sonic and DaPurpleSharpie Sharpie.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's like that on Smash GG, but he does go by Cloud King.
Gotcha. Understood. My second question. It's been a hot minute, so I'm not going to take complete fault for this. Who are these sponsors? Are Sonic and DaKillSage still with EG? Evil Geniuses?
Yeah, they're still with Evil Geniuses, yep.
Okay, who's RW?
Oh, yeah, so something you have to know about the Skullgirls community is that very frequently you will see people with tags in front of their name that actually won't be associated with a team at all. And they're just like a clan or just a group of people that are all playing together. Like a big one is Corn Club Never Dies, which is CCND. Like they have Full Bleed. They have, I think, Making Missing No. They have a couple of players. But like it's Graham Sandwich is another one, but these are all people that are like, you know, they practice together, they play together, and they have a moniker that brings them together, you know?
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like that. But Cloud King is not currently sponsored by anyone to my knowledge.
Okay. Somebody pick him up and just beat Sonic Fox.
You also have to remember, well, something also important to remember about Skullgirls is that Sonic and DaKillSage have not actively been playing Skullgirls like these other players have been playing Skullgirls. They played Dragon Ball for a time. They started Marvel. They started doing like a plethora of other games. So these like Cloud, Triv, Rabble Flaggers, these people have been practicing the game for the last 4 or 5 years straight. So they've had a lot of dedicated time to Skullgirls to learn some things. And Sage and Sonic just haven't really been playing the game the same amount. And this is also a tournament exclusively online, so all the people that have been practicing this entire time are able to do things that have never been tested in tournaments before, which is, I mean, offline tournaments before. So there's a lot of like nuance inside of these rankings, but it's important to remember that unlike other games where Sonic just comes and dominates, it's very, very frequent inside the Skullgirls community that Sonic and Sage specifically, who have been picked up by really large teams, and have been actively competing and playing other games and dedicating a lot of time and their resources to those other games or streaming, have not been competing as much inside of this game as well with these tournaments like these other players have. So those rankings do reflect it. That's why everyone's really happy that Cloud won, because back at CEO, he lost the exact same way. He was in grand finals, winners finals, the entire way, knocked Sonic into losers. Sonic ran it all the way back through losers, and everybody was like, oh my god, just by a sliver, he lost yet again. So this was a really big redemption moment. I'm sorry, I love Skullgirls, obviously.
Oh, hey, talk your heart out.
How dare you? How dare you?
I've never gotten to talk Skullgirls rankings on this show. I watched them when I was doing the Skullgirls tour, but this is a really big moment for me right now. I could almost cry. I'm just really happy.
Cool. Well, I'm super excited that Skullgirls gets such a cool league that's very forward facing. And I don't know if it was just my ignorance of not seeing it, but I'm seeing a lot more Skullgirls on the timeline now on Twitter. So I don't think that's ever a bad thing. So big ups to Skullgirls in the community keeping that game alive and now progressing. And, the whole thing about Sonic Fox and the Kill Sage not practicing the game like the other guys, that sounds like an excuse. They got beat. They lost. Practice more next time.
They're saying that, but they're also like, I don't be playing the game like that anymore, which is very true. It is a fact. They do not be labbing the game like that.
Okay, then stop getting top 8, dang it, or everybody else get better. Let's go. I'm kidding. I'm just talking for no reason.
To be fair, a lot of top 5 was very, very close. A lot of it was. All of top 8 was very close, but top 5 specifically was very close. It was a showcase.
Dude, that's badass. I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go back and watch it when I have the chance. I caught glimpses and peeks of it, but I didn't get to watch the whole thing. Anywho, anything else we want to say about the Spring Blockbuster?
There's something I want to say about Trevzor, who is subscribed now for 23 months. We thank you for everything you do to help support the show. Thank you very much, Trevzor.
But specifically giving us money. We're thanking you right now because you gave us money. Just making that very clear.
Well, and that is why we applause.
Yeah.
And also, you know what's funny? When I logged into the Twitch the dashboard, the first thing I saw, like the first thing my eye went to was 14 days ago when Die by Sword gifted one tier 1 sub to 420 Blaze It, because the last show we did was on 420. Never ceases to make me laugh. Never ceases to make me laugh.
That's pretty good.
Speaking of things that never cease, I tried.
Can we talk,
Steve? What's the next thing?
Can we talk about some Central Fiction?
Yep.
Because not this past weekend, but the weekend before was the second edition of the World Serpent Championship. This is a series of online tournaments pretty much all over the world, Asia, Europe, North America, South America, all about BlazBlue Central Fiction. This year had a little bit of extra spice to it because in addition to people, they were calling on people to share their favorite moments with the hashtag BBCF, as well as the hashtag BBCF rollback. So this is part of the push, because the Central Fiction community has been pushing very strong. Remember, ArcSys did say that they were thinking about adding rollback to certain titles. Not just titles they release in the future, but legacy titles. So they're really pushing for this one to be one of them. Anyway, you've got all of your tournament winners here. Kyo-chan and Ice Cool holding it down on the West and East Coast respectively, winning both events in North America. Also, good weekend for Musketeer, holding it down in Brazil, winning the individual tournament, as well as being a member of the winning 3v3 team. So congratulations to everyone. Especially Team Europe's winner, or the European team winner. Team I Swear I Didn't Drop That. Arguably one of the best team names of the weekend.
I also like I Choose Violence, I'm not going to lie. That is pretty funny.
I Swear I Didn't Drop That resonates personally with me, coming from the Skullgirls Spring Blockbuster.
See, it all ties in together.
Always Skullgirls.
So last weekend you had a couple of anime titles in the spotlight. This past weekend was all about Street Fighter. You had a couple of big events. Notably, the second of the Capcom Pro Tour events, Central America West. So this was Mexico, Costa Rica, the western part of Central America. A heavy Mexican representation, 7 of the top 8 players coming from Mexico. MJ Gama, top of the table. He holds off Kusanagi, who I always love is sponsored by a wrestling organization, him and El Tigre, sponsored by AAA. But MJ Gama, with the win, he qualifies for Capcom Cup, picks up his first CPT top, not just win. Well, actually, this is, I believe, his first ever CPT win. This is his first top 8 in 5 years at a CPT event.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. So good way to get back into the mix. So congratulations, Gama. We will see you at Capcom Cup in early 2022.
Exciting. Very exciting.
There was another event that got announced. We didn't know about the last time we were on the air. This got announced shortly after we went off the air.
As always.
This was the Red Bull Kumite. And we'll get into this a little bit more later in the show. But Red Bull Kumite had a last chance qualifier that was only open to England, to English players because that's where it's going to be held, and through just the best way to deal with quarantine measures as the world is right now. But AKA Jones holds off Bold Strike, Broski, I'm still the daddy, to take the top spot. He will be the last player in the Red Bull Kumite field. So congratulations to you. And there's my one typo. That took place in Street Fighter V, not Killer Instinct. My bad on that. That's this one's on me. My bad. Y'all have a good one.
Keeping in line with the combo breaker tradition, all of Midwest refuses to use spell check.
But I actually started that tradition before Combo Breaker did. They copied me because I make my one mistake per schedule. So I know I'm not known for that now because there haven't been a ton of schedules lately, but that's still my thing. My typos are my thing. I own that.
You definitely penned it first. Or possibly freest. Possibly freest.
All right.
Spelled. Okay.
All right. Can we talk about what's coming on this coming weekend? So we've got a few events to keep an eye out for. Saturday is the 8th and final event for Liga Latina for the Mortal Kombat Pro League. After the 8th round in each of the competitions, the top players will qualify for the finals. So this is the weekend to decide who is going to represent for South and Central America in that competition. This weekend, the Capcom Pro Tour comes to the U.S. and Canada. The Western section gets their first crack at qualifying for Capcom Cup 8. And on Monday, we haven't mentioned this before, but Capcom has started a new program on Mondays called Sets. It's a 1st to 10 exhibition between a couple players. This week, it's going to be Cien versus Oswald. So some good Singapore Street Fighter action on deck for you.
Hell yeah. And I want to do something here that we don't usually do. But it just kind of worked out that I saw all this right as we were setting up. So I want to take a look at some of the registrants for the CPT tournament this week. This will be quick, I promise. Here we go. I pulled up Smash GG. Woo! All right. So immediately at the top of the list is Justin Wong. So I'm excited about that, especially with Rose out now. Be a good time. CeroBlast. Was CeroBlast?
Bit of news. That's a bit of news.
Am I thinking of the correct person? There
was a statement released regarding that edition. Would you like for me to pull it up?
Yes, please. I had no idea until I just saw this now.
Yeah, it was literally news that broke very shortly after we went live.
This came out on the 30th. So if you'll remember,
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. So let's take you back into the before times, or the early online, early days of online only tournaments. There was a exchange of words through Twitter between CeroBlast and Low Tier God after they played a set. LTG used a homophobic slur against CeroBlast. Several people then went through CeroBlast's tweets and found them using racial slurs in their tweets. So both players were announced. Capcom decided to suspend both players from all Street Fighter events for the foreseeable future. They did not put an end date on that. On the 30th, Capcom announced that they made the decision to lift the suspension of CeroBlast. In part, the statement reads that CeroBlast was excluded from participating in the Capcom Pro Tour 2020 season, but has since shown remorse for their inappropriate behavior. We hope that she has learned from this incident and will be a more positive force in the community moving forward. If any future violations occur, Capcom will permanently ban CeroBlast from all Capcom events. Capcom is continually evaluating all players that have received bans and will periodically lift bans on a case-by-case basis. End quote.
Interesting.
So, it's very interesting. Do we have thoughts on this?
There's a lot of complicated thoughts.
There's a lot of complicated thoughts in this.
So underneath, a lot of conversation was had after Capcom came out with their official statement, and I'm just going to share others' thoughts. I'm not going to state my personal opinion on this because I'm not Capcom or anything like that, and I'm not one of the tournament organizers that had a statement or had a part in what the decision was behind her. What I will say is that a lot of people seem to be very frustrated by the fact that she basically got a slap on the wrist for something that she hasn't necessarily always shown throughout every entity, is what a lot of people are saying that she's changed. She has shown remorse, which is what I think the tournament organizers see. And I think they're like, okay, well, if this is what we saw and it was a one-time thing, then understood, and you seem very sorry for it, and we completely understand not playing for a year. We'll help you think about your actions and hopefully do better in the future. But a lot of people are not happy with her being given a second chance when they don't feel like there's been enough change shown, So it's completely up to the organizers on how they want to enforce this and what they want to do, and they made it very clear what they want. I don't disagree with it. I don't agree with it entirely, but I think at the end of the day, I think that she's going to be in the tournament and there's not very much that we can do about it.
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree that it was a slap on the wrist. It ended up being a 1-year suspension for tweets, and I think there's a lot of discourse about the particular words in question and whether certain people get to use them or not. I have my own opinions on that. I think that if you can avoid using them, avoid using those words because they probably don't have a place in your vocabulary. I don't necessarily think that every single instance of using the word that ends in A is necessarily hateful. I am one of those people that do believe that there is a significant difference between the A ending and the ER ending. And in these cases, I believe what was used was the A ending. But even still, I don't necessarily think this is a double standard. When you're talking about LTG, that's his persona, is being unapologetic, and that he makes, whether that's him as a person or him as a persona, doesn't matter. He's not going to show remorse for what he said, and let's be honest, he's not going to. Even if he were to enter a CPT event, he's not going to get far. So a ban for him is. I don't mean that as an insult. I don't mean that as an insult. Not everyone in the community is necessarily going to be a tournament winner. I'm not going to be a tournament winner. Banning me from CPT events wouldn't really affect me because I'm not winning. I'm not doing stuff. LTG, his brand is not going to tournaments and making top 8. That's not what he does. He's a personality. He is an entertainer.
Is he a personality?
Whether you find him entertaining or not is your call. But he's not someone who is going to go up there and make Evo top 8. Let's be real. Let's be honest about that. This doesn't mean anything to him. And honestly, he probably gets more out of the notoriety of being banned and having people, rally around him and say, hey, this is a double standard, Capcom. He gets more out of that than getting unbanned. Because he ain't going to enter a tournament when he's unbanned. Let's be honest. But, I feel like this particular instance, I don't have an issue with their decision. The one problem that exists is that, let's be honest, CeroBlast is not the only person who has used that word. I know of a few people, even on that screen of players you have up, who have used that word, and by certain definitions probably shouldn't have used that word. Are we going to ban every one of them? I think it's just sort of it when you draw a line in the sand, you have to be ready to defend that line. And if the line is simply using that word, then that is a line that is going to catch a whole lot of players.
Yep. Yeah, and I think
it ultimately becomes. Oh, sorry. Go on.
We literally
Elon.
just said the same thing. You said.
We literally did. No, you got it though. You got it. You delivered the line better than me.
Not really, but I think ultimately it just boils down to, I think people just want the fair ruling and everybody
consistent
being
answer.
The same.
Yeah.
So, and it's tough, right? Because this is something that it almost feels like Capcom is playing it by ear, in the sense that we haven't had a precedence of this before where somebody got banned for using a word or whatever. So the fact that now they are, and things are happening, and we have people getting banned, people getting unbanned, and all this stuff, it just feels like there's a lot of nebulous, which is like, the world is not in black and white. There's a lot of gray area, and that's where we're at. We're in a bunch of gray areas, which is why I think it's right for them to handle cases on a case-by-case basis. But I have a feeling that, somebody's gonna, and people in our chat started mentioning, F-Champ and whatever happened with F-Champ. Who knows? Because that is a person who makes top 8s and would get something out of being. Are they still banned, by the way? I vaguely remember there being a thing.
Yes, to my knowledge. I believe they are permanently banned.
Yeah.
From a series of events. The problem here, I believe, is that with events starting back up, a lot of people are taking the whole, hey, this happened without social media, without events. You know what I mean? I think there are a lot of bans that are perma bans because this person should not ever be welcome inside of a community where there may be family members or children or, you know, people that have paid to go to an event, and they would antagonize other people who have paid to go to the event and make that experience lesser for people, right? So there's that type of ban. And then there's a ban that's like, hey, you know, you shouldn't do this, and we want to make sure people know not to do this, and so here's a softer ban. The problem is it feels the same when you don't have offline events. That's the big issue here, I feel. I feel like that 1 year ban people would be more content and happy with, and they probably wouldn't even have to make a statement if we had offline events. And that's because that would have been one of the things that, like, people would have forgot. People would have been like, okay, that happened. Capcom could just be like, you know, here's why we did it, so on and so forth, and everyone would be like, that makes sense. But because there are literally no other events at all, and they couldn't do any online events because those are all Capcom based, you know, it's a big deal. So I ultimately, I think what happened was see, and this is why I didn't necessarily agree with the punishment and the way it was doled out, is because I don't think the communication was there that specified why CeroBlast was getting banned for that amount of time, and I don't think they made it clear in the original ban what would happen if it were to be lifted, you know? I don't think that was ever really fully communicated, even in the original statement.
Well, realistically, the only other ban I could think of that Capcom had done to that point, I don't remember if
wasn't it the Quack person or whatever from Capcom in Canada? Capcom Canada.
Yeah. All right, you're right on that. But that's I'm talking about for conduct.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
For out non-tournament conduct. The only one I could think of is infiltration, which was a significantly different set of circumstances. By the way, the F-Champ ban is still, it was announced in June and is still, and was announced as an indefinite ban, which part of the problem was when these bans were announced, there weren't really events to ban them from, and they had no idea when there would be events again. So I think if this happened in 2018, it might have been like a 1 year ban. But they couldn't say that because they didn't know if there were going to be events in a month or 3 months or a year. And, you know, even at this point, we still don't really know. You know, we kind of see light at the end of the tunnel, but there's still a lot of stuff up in the air. So they couldn't really put a set time on it because everything else they were dealing with tournament-wise, none of that had a set time on it.
Right. Whew. Difficult to... Man, I just wanted to look at the entrance. I didn't know it was going to go down this path. That's crazy.
We have so much news. We have so much news
All
today.
Right. Let's just take a quick gander, just at what I wanted to do originally. So we have Jaywong, CeroBlast. Is that Mortzy? I can't see. Looks like Mortzy. Ranks. Geki, who's an online player, who I've heard of. Alex Myers, JB, Nephew, LPN, Chris CCH. This is a stacked list. Stupendous. Plague Madness? I don't think I've heard of that person. I'm probably gonna get
Clegg's done some things. Clegg's done some things.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar, but I guess it's just my own ignorance peeking into the void here. Filipino man, Kyle P. Is that White Gun? White
Samurai.
Yeah, go ahead. You can read.
Donkadillis, Commander Jesse, Danny Pham. There's some heavy hitters here. This is all the West Coast players, so Yanu, Prototype, Corey Bell, Noah the Prodigy, holding it down with Friday Night Nightmares.
Ooh. Okay. Well,
Noah
I just wanted to take
I think Noah's an adult now.
Wow, that's crazy. That's
crazy.
Oh my god. I feel old. Why did you do that, Steve?
Oh man, because I'm just cruel. My bold prediction: Alex Myers makes top 3.
The last time was it Alex Myers and Punk that caused the Punk thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that gonna I wonder, is Alex's connection going to be brought back as an issue? Who knows? We're going to see this weekend on another episode of Capcom Fighters Z.
I appreciate the attempt there.
Yeah.
All right. We have a lot of things we need to get through, and we spent a lot of time on not that. So let's get down to business. Not the hit Mulan song. Let's talk about Red Bull Kumite, which is where I was going, and then Steve highlighted it in the doc. So I guess that's what we're going to talk about. Red Bull Kumite was announced. It's going to be in London. It's going to be in 2021. And we have details, don't we, Steve?
We do. So this is, we talk about events slowly coming back. And most of what we've seen so far, smaller invitationals. This is one of them. Red Bull Kumite has been one of the highlights of the calendar for Street Fighter. But this year, it's not just going to be Street Fighter. It is a 2-day event which will take place in London at the Red Bull Gaming Sphere on May 22nd and May 23rd. So 2 weeks from this weekend. Date 2 is what you're familiar with, the Street Fighter tournament. 15 players invited, plus 1 player, aka Jones, who got in via the last chance qualifier, which unfortunately was only open to UK players this time around. So that's going to be what we normally have seen from Red Bull Kumite. Day 1, however, is going to be a showcase for Guilty Gear Strive. So they've said that this is going to be a 4-hour stream. It will include exhibitions. It will include interviews with the development team. One of the last big pre-launch showcases for Strive before it hits in mid-June.
Yeah.
So,
wow, that's I'm excited. Although, I'm looking forward to it, and especially since Strive has been pushed back so much, it's good to finally start seeing like big exhibitions and dev interviews and all this other stuff. Not that they haven't.
I'm really
done
excited
that,
for Strive. Yeah, but
it's cool to see stuff. Speaking of which,
it's gonna be pretty great.
I don't mean to detract from the topic that we're on, but I think we can start downloading the beta client this Friday for Strive beta number 2. And then the beta starts next week, if I'm not mistaken. So everybody go to your PSN and download the client. You can still use the same client from last time.
Yeah. So that will be available, in your local area on the PlayStation Store on Friday at 10 a.m. For each region's local time. So if you're in Europe, it'll be 10 a.m. GMT. If you're in the US, it'll be 10 a.m. Eastern on Friday. And then the beta starts on the 13th. So Thursday.
Exciting. Strive number 2. And all the characters are playable, including Eno. So it's going to be a good time. Anywho, as fun as Strive is, Steve, I think I want to know more about the Street Fighter V event, because it's an invitational, so people have to get invited. And I have a feeling that the people invited, since this is happening in a couple weeks, I have a feeling that the people who were invited are already invited. Or the people who are going to be invited already received their invitation. Have they?
You would think so. You would think so, because there's a lot of red tape you got to clear, especially when you're talking about travel in and out of the UK right now. But we do have 8 players, 9 with the inclusion of the last chance qualifier winner, 9 players who are going to be a part of the field, and you've got some big names.
That is a bunch of big names.
Yeah, you've got representing Europe, you've got Hurricane, you've got Mr. Crimson, you've got Problem X, and Vega Patch, player who consistently does well. So good to see Spain get some representation. Smug and Idom representing the U.S., and then Tokido and Kawano from Japan. And of course, 7 more players to be announced. Those will be in the coming days. So, is there anyone that you're really hoping gets in?
Well, I mean, obviously, I want to see the Lord Daigo Mihara show up, especially after he won the Asia qualifier, right? For Capcom Cup, or am I mistaken? Are years blending together?
He won one of the Japanese qualifiers last year.
Who won the Japanese qualifier this year? Wasn't there one just recently? Am I crazy?
No.
Was it not Tokido?
Oh, it was Mago. Mago, yes.
Yeah, it was Mago. September Mago. It was
Yes.
all day Mago.
All day Mago. I want all day Mago there. Chat, throw us some names. I see Bonchan. Bonchan's a good pick.
Yeah.
Bonchan never disappoints.
I
Mago.
want to see. I want to see Infectious again.
Infectious.
I want to see.
the
Yeah,
Evo
I
champ?
want to see. I want to see the entrance, the Infectious.jpg, the JPEG entrance again. But he's a player who would be really good.
Dude, yeah, we got Punk, Sako, Cien.
Cien would be a good one.
Cien is always entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
Anyway, fun things abound for Red Bull Kumite. So happy it's back. Red Bull always puts on a hell of a show.
I'm always
And
happy when
excited.
Red Bull announces an event. Yeah.
Yep, and we get a little bit of Guilty Gear on the side too, so fun times. Fudo, that's another name. Hell yeah. Fudo.
There's no lack of quality names
Yeah.
because I mean, especially right now, you can only get 16 players out. There's always going to be at least twice as many where you could say, man, it would be cool if they were there.
Yeah, that has to be the hardest part about coming up with an invitational. That's 16 people. It's like, who are you going to invite?
Yeah.
And who are you going to leave out? That's always a tough decision. Any final thoughts on Red Bull Kumite before we move on? Sold.
Yeah. I'm excited to watch it.
Dude, same. Events are happening.
Yeah, I've been so happy recently to see any events, but anything right now is so welcome. You know?
Absolutely. All right. Let's move on to the next one. What I have next here is a bit of not good news. So now that we got off the high of Red Bull Kumite, let's go down. Everybody remember those WePlay events? Grand old time, right? We had Soul Calibur 6, we had Tekken 7, we had Mortal Kombat 11. Big ol' offline productions. Great times were had. And it's over. In what is the closest thing to a joint statement I have ever seen come out of the FGC this week, both NRS and Bandai Namco announced that they're no longer allowing their games to be used in the WePlay esport events.
Wasn't it within like a couple of minutes of each other too?
It was pretty much within 1 minute.
Mhm.
I believe they were both set to launch at noon Eastern, which was an absolute shock to a lot of people because NetherRealm and Bandai Namco, of course, they made all three of the games that were part of WePlay UFL Season 1. We're talking about Soul Calibur 6 and Tekken 7 from the Bandai Namco side of things, and Mortal Kombat 11 from the NetherRealm side of things. So that's all three of their games from Season 1. And their statements came out at the same time and with almost identical wording. Do we want to start with Bandai Namco?
Let's go with NetherRealm first because that's what I have pulled
Let's
up.
go with NetherRealm. So we can compare and contrast. So NetherRealm statement, quote, NetherRealm Studios is consistently striving to foster the best esports tournaments for our dedicated fans and community. Due to differences in vision, we will now no longer allow our games to be utilized in WePlay operated esports events. End quote.
All right, now everybody close your eyes. All right, now open them back up.
Just a little different. Quote, Bandai Namco is consistently striving to deliver the best esports tournaments and events to please our players and fans. Due to differences in vision and professional standards, we will no longer be working with WePlay as an esports tournament organizing partner, end quote. So basically, one of them asked to copy from the other, and they said to change it up a little bit so it doesn't look like they got copied. Obviously, a little bit of a joke, but
the good old high school tech or college tech.
There is a lot of context for this, I feel. Steve, did you want to go over why this statement came to be?
Well,
and why a lot of people believe the statement came to be?
Well, we can talk about WePlay's response.
Let's get to WePlay's response in just a sec.
Yeah, because they don't say why.
Mm-hmm.
They don't say why, but we have our guesses as to why.
Now,
do we want to cover it?
Who wants to do it?
I can do it. I've got it up.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks.
So, in response to this, WePlay put out a statement on Twitter within 24 hours and said, quote, WePlay has always strived to raise the standards in every tournament we put together by delivering the highest quality events using innovative production techniques and providing the best conditions for players and talents alike. With WePlay UFL Season 1, we put together one of the most memorable FGC tournaments to date, approved by both Bandai and NetherRealm. Our goal was always and still is to provide the community with a world-class event that everyone can enjoy. The news received today caught us by surprise. Since WePlay UFL began and after the event finished, we tried to discuss the future seasons, go over feedback, and address the first season with both NetherRealm and Bandai, but have had no response. Our vision and dedication to the FGC have not changed, and we will continue to move forward by making amazing events and content that the community deserves. End quote. So again, neither company revealing the exact reason why there was a falling out. And we don't know the exact reason, but the most popular theory is WePlay's partnership with a company called 1xBet. This is a gaming/gambling operation based in Cyprus that was heavily involved with the sponsorship of Ultimate Fighting League. They have three owners who were three Russian owners who have moved to Cyprus for reasons completely unrelated to them being wanted in Cyprus as well as being wanted in the UK. 1xBet was recently the subject of an investigation by the Sunday Times, a newspaper in the UK, which found that the company offered bets on children's sports. That the company advertised on websites that included illegal activities such as cockfighting, and that they helped operate a so-called Pornhub casino, a casino that used topless women as dealers, video casino, I should say. Now, in response to that, WePlay has said that the website advertisements were a mistake, that was done through a third-party advertising vendor, and that they operate within the laws of all of the nations that they have a license to operate in. They do not have a UK license. They technically do not offer bets in the UK, but there are ways around that. Same with the United States. So, it is believed, again, unconfirmed, but it is believed that this partnership between WePlay and 1xBet is the reason for the falling out between NRS and Bandai Namco and WePlay.
Now,
Important to note that they did announce the partnership about a week or 2 weeks prior to this news dropping, which is why it's such a widely believed thought process. But once again, neither of these statements confirm nor deny it. Honestly, they don't mention it at all. So,
and I do want to bring up one small bit of context when it comes to 1xBets and their dealings with esports, because there was one company that partnered with 1xBets earlier, or not earlier, but before they partnered with WePlay, and that was ESL. ESL partnered with 1xBets, and then shortly after that partnership started, it ended. So who knows what happened behind the scenes?
Is not a small company either. They worked with very large football clubs in the UK, like Chelsea, Manchester United, the terrible team that everybody who doesn't really enjoy the sport watches, Arsenal.
Wow.
You know,
the views expressed by Sharpie.
We are
the views on Manchester
podcast.
United are. But yeah,
but in all
they're very
seriousness,
much...
it's a big deal. Like they spend a lot of money and they make a lot of money, and it's not all above board is the problem. So after, obviously, a lot of people believe that a company like that has no place inside of the community, and a couple of organizers made those views very known on social media, which is why it's so widely believed that this is what occurred. But we have no proof, no, just a very believed hypotheses.
Well, okay, let's frame it this way. In our opinion here, as individuals, not representing any company, not speaking for anybody else, is taking money from an organization that has a shady background like 1xBets good or bad for the FGC?
It's bad. It's very bad. I mean, okay, so I ran the Skullgirls tour back in like 2016, and we originally had this partnership with this company called Stream.me. And so we did the Skullgirls tour for 2 years, but after we moved to an online-only format in our second year, we removed ourselves from that partnership with Stream.me specifically because it became known to us that they were allowing a very racist person on their platform specifically to spew views against a lot of people inside of the Skullgirls community. Well, not the Skullgirls community specifically, but like they were spewing a lot of homophobia, racism, ageism, sexism, and everything like that, which really started to offend members of our community, you know? So obviously, don't become aligned with that anymore. Like, if you're going to come over here and you're going to like have all these terrible views about other humans, then like maybe we don't accept your money, you know? Things like that. So it is important to know that, because you don't want people who don't have your best interest at heart to determine how you run an event. You don't want that. That is what stops our community from being accessible, and that is what stops our community from growing. It also stops the community being for a place where people who just enjoy the game and are like quote unquote good people can be, you know? Not to say this person in question can't change or is inherently super evil. Their thoughts are what are really problematic, and the way that they're spewing them and sharing them and making others believe that it is fact when it's exclusively an opinion that is false, that's a problem, you know? I feel like as an organizer or someone who's in charge of an event, you have kind of a duty to make sure that that doesn't happen. And as soon as it comes to your knowledge, you have to do the right thing in that instance, which is unfortunately cutting ties with things like that. And I think that's a position that, if I had to guesstimate, I personally believe that that's why Bandai and NetherRealms made that statement, because that's what I would do in their opinion, in their positions. That's literally what I did with the Skullgirls tour. That's what I would have done in their positions too. I would have been like, well, okay, is this fact? Is this who's actually in charge of that money? Is that where they're getting their money from? Okay, cool. We don't want our games at that, because we don't want them to be changing the demographic of players when we know our players aren't like that, you know? Like, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Like, I feel like there's the issue of the specifics around 1xBet uh, around this event. There's that issue, but there's also the issue of gambling companies around fighting game events. Obviously, esports gambling is growing by leaps and bounds, and I'm not inherently opposed to that. I feel like if people can do so responsibly, um, I don't see it as significantly different by, you know, being at a venue and say, "Hey, I like the guy on stage on 10 who's got me." I don't necessarily think that's a problem. The problem is, uh, 1xBet was actually offering odds uh, on Ultimate Fighting League,
Yeah.
and you're talking about an event that has a prize pool that is, in gambling terms, relatively small, $50,000. Um, I feel like it would be like when we're dealing with small amounts of prize, and not to say that $50,000 is a small amount, but it is small in relative terms to the amount of money that could be bet on the event. So I feel like when you have that sort of situation, the possibility of someone influence coming in and offering up a little bit of uh, incentive to swing a match a particular way, you know, if
It
I can make
changes. It
100,000,
definitely becomes a
yeah,
different dynamic. Yeah.
yeah, and that's something we got to deal with. You know, when you talk about, uh, you know, when we're talking about this on a much bigger scale, when we're talking about soccer games, it's not necessarily the matches in La Liga and Premier League and Champions League that you got to worry about, because the parties involved make significant amounts of money already. It's the lower leagues. It's like the third, fourth, fifth division uh, teams in these countries where the players are not making that much money, relatively speaking. So a smaller bet could be more influential, and you could bet a relatively smaller amount to make money off of it. I feel like that's something that it's uncomfortable, and we got to address it as the world of gambling becomes more and more entwined with the world of esports.
Very good point.
It's one of the reasons I really don't like a lot of the gambling aspects that they kind of add on a lot of like larger leagues and larger games. You know what I mean? Like, because there are ways to bet on Overwatch games and be completely above board with it. Like, you can go to DraftKings and you can bet on certain things in like Fortnite or like Apex. Like, you can do that. And it's kind of bizarre and crazy. And it's one of the reasons why Japan doesn't allow people to play for money, because they're like, no, we don't want that at all. You know? So I'm terrified to see it already be inside of the FGC, and I'm terrified to see it start to kind of trickle down from esports into smaller caveats and smaller communities. You know, it's kind of terrifying to think that a lot of people are getting money like that now, and that's kind of like what we have to do in order to have really big production events. But I don't feel like it's the route we need to go down in order to keep growing. You know?
Yeah, but at
But
the same,
but
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go
No,
ahead.
please.
Because my thought is
Okay.
not the same as yours.
Steve, talk. Steve, talk.
All right. What I was going to say is the issue is you brought up like needing that money to put on bigger production events. Gambling, we talk about FGC being poverty. It's hard to make money off of events. You need sponsors, and gambling sponsors are going to be the ones that are looking at this the most, because they're one of the few companies that can almost guarantee that they make money as long as they get some people playing based off of their thing. So it's tough. It's easy for us to say, yeah, you don't take that sponsorship. You know, would we feel any differently if it was a gambling company that
Pornhub?
was more
If it was
above
Pornhub,
board. Pornhub's
Pornhub did sponsor. It's not to me. See, it's not to me. That's the problem.
Wait, was it
Is
Pornhub?
Pornhub, Budweiser did something with them, remember? Betting, to me, those are all like the same genre of companies.
Was it are you thinking
YouPorn.
of YouPorn?
YouPorn,
Yeah,
thank
Team
you,
YP.
yes.
Yeah. Team YP, I forgot about that.
But that's my point. I didn't. My point is that impacts people in the community. You didn't remember it because you didn't start internalizing and thinking when you were coming of age playing video games. Hey, that's crazy. This is the only way I can play video games is if I'm sponsored by people who literally are taking a very, very lucrative and incredibly exploitative media and trying to promote that to children. That's the only way I can really enjoy video games professionally. What story does that tell people when they play? Do I have an issue with sex workers and people inside of that industry that aren't necessarily doing that? No, but I do have issues with the industry that's profiting off of that and exploiting a lot of people like that, taking that money and putting it into something and saying this is the only way you're going to be able to make money off of your game. That's a problem. We should have sponsors from our game developers, from our publishers, from people inside of the industry wanting this to profit because of how much money it is. If these outside companies can see how lucrative it is, why can't these other companies whose actual game it is, why can't they give us an actual amount to do what we want to do? That's why I get angry. That's why I get upset when I see people going to that. That's where my anger comes from. Inherently, we are doing people a service by running these tournaments. We know the audience, we know the community, we know what we want because it's the same thing that we want. So why not just give us what we're asking for instead of making us go to all these less savory characters that doesn't always send the message we want to send to underage or coming of age individuals, you know? Like, that's what it really comes to. I know I had a conversation about this eons ago when Budweiser was doing something, and I was like, I don't necessarily know if alcohol has a place at some of these public events, you know, in the way that it's being showcased right now. And everyone's like, well, sports does it all the time. And it's like, well, sports also has very lucrative Adidas contracts. They have very lucrative Nike contracts that pay significantly more than this. This is just those companies really scraping the barrel, you know? So when I look at things like that, that makes me frustrated, you know?
I get you. And it makes sense. That is a very good perspective on it.
But Steve, you also I super agree with your viewpoint. I super agree. We can't always be picky about our money to that degree. I just feel like, especially a location where we're specifically targeting people that are underage or coming of age, we really do have an obligation to make sure that this place is safe for them. And no parent is going to drop off their kid at a place when they're like, oh yeah, you know, Budweiser's hosting it. There's going to be a bunch of beer. There's going to be a bunch of alcohol. Oh yeah, YouPorn is hosting here. There's going to be a bunch of really good deals for their website. Things like that. Like, no parent's going to drop off a kid there, you know? It really only hurts us in the long run.
Let me offer a counterpoint to that, too. Sorry to cut you out, Steve. Are these events supposed to be for people who are underage? Because I know there was a big discussion about making sure that everybody is 18 and over, and if you're not, that you have a parent with you to take you there, or if you don't have a parent there, you have like at least a signed permission slip or something like that. So is the central audience of the fighting game community specifically for people who are underage? And while I'm posing this question, I'm also thinking about the fact that it's supposed to be inclusive. So even if that isn't the central audience, that an avenue for that audience is something that we do want. So
I mean, Sonic just turned 23.
Right.
And he's arguably one of the best fighting game players of all time. Justin Wong was 21, like when he was going to EVO and practicing and doing everything like that. And he got picked up by Empire when he was like, what, 18, 17? So it's like, this is a very real... Yeah, it was eons before that he knew everybody that was playing for. That's when it became official. That's when I'm counting it. But I know he was with them way before that, you know? So you have to realize that even if these companies do it, what it really becomes is us limiting ourselves from a certain audience. Like, think about Smash. Think about Super Smash Brothers. Think about the audience that they have. Now think about why Nintendo is so glaring when they have to go to certain sponsors, because they're like, I know y'all will take money from anyone, you know, and we do have kids here. So it's like, think about that, except with fighting games, because these games are already pretty provocative in and of themselves. You know, there's already a lot of violence. Why do we have to add on to that in general? And no, I'm not just saying this because, you know, I've been thinking about my family and everything recently. I don't want to hear it. It's a very real conversation topic, is my point here. And doesn't always take femmes or a woman to say something like that to make it any more or any less true. It doesn't always take having a child to understand that viewpoint, right. I feel. Because the reality is, like, these are consumers of a medium that we all enjoy. And we should be able to make sure they have as much fun as possible without having to confront certain dredges of society that are still unnecessary in general, right? Like, a kid should be able to pull up a game without, like, beating a woman to death and being like, it sucks that if, you know, I present as a woman, I'd probably be beaten to death type of thing. You know, no kid wants to be like, oh man, thinking about that in the middle of it. Like, if I played a game like that, I'd be like super depressed and be like, dang, this is how society sees me. You know? Who would want that?
I see what you're saying, and your take, and you know, it's a little different from what I was thinking.
Fair.
You know, when you're talking about kids in the space, obviously, we got to make sure they're protected. We got to make sure that they're not exposed to things that they shouldn't be exposed to. We shouldn't be advertising Bud Light to teens. You know, the only counterpoint I would say to that is, I'm 37. Wait, yeah, I'm 37.
No, I totally get it. I think there should be, like, at events, there should be a little lounge or something, you know, 21 and older. I would be totally cool with that. I would be totally cool if there was another specific event that was all 21 and older. The problem is, the Budweiser event that I was talking about that was 21 and over, it was streamed on Twitch to everyone, you know? So, like, things like that are kind of, you know, if you're going to do a 21 and over event, make it, you know, super exclusionary, do all of that stuff, do what you need to do if you're only catering to adults, but make it very clear that this is just the adult space, you know? I don't feel like you should be able to, like, sign a permit and go to a place where they're all actively serving drinks and no one's really checking for cards or something like that. Like, that just seems weird. But that's what I feel with the whole bet thing too, is that, like, all of this is very, we shouldn't need this to survive. I still very much so feel like that. We shouldn't need all of this to survive. We should be able to hold a better standard for all participants, regardless of their age. And we should make a very inclusive event, regardless of you being able to drink or smoke or enjoy adult activities, you know? All of that.
Word. I just realized it's almost 7:15.
We have 15 minutes? Yeah.
15 minutes to cover the second half.
I thought you were going to use the bell if it was a problem, Eli.
Look, we just had two of, like, the most serious discussions we've had on this show for, like, the past 3 months.
Yeah.
So
it was a good one.
Yes. 15-minute lightning round.
I would have used my 5 minutes. I
don't even have that set up. All right. Lightning round. Project L playtest is happening. If you live in the West Coast, go play it. If you get invited?
So,
is that it?
Yeah. Tom, that took place this past weekend, if I remember correctly.
Oh, never mind. Don't go play it.
Tom Cannon did say there may be more dates coming up, but Tom Cannon did go on Twitter and say that, hey, we're happy, people are excited. There probably won't be any sort of open beta before the end of this year, so be patient. So we're still a ways away from a release.
Yeah, but hey, location tests. That's more or less what's happening here. Yeah, so no Project L in 2021. I guess that's what we can take away from that. Anything else on Project L?
No, but we've got some more game news updates.
Yes. Say it, Steve.
A couple.
Say the thing. Everybody wants to hear it. Say it. Say it.
Which thing?
The one you're going to say?
Virtua Fighter 5 eSports?
Yes.
Is a thing?
I guessed it.
This was rated by both Korean and Japanese rating boards It is also known in other countries as Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. So this appears to be a next-gen version / port of VF5 Final Showdown. So,
damn, I'm excited. You know what else? Like Stams? Beavers. Beaver for the win. Subscribed for 42 months. I did it. We got there. Thank you, Beaver, for the win. Beaver FTW. All right. I'm sorry. I wish we could celebrate more, but we're on a tight schedule here. Limited time engagement. Here we go. Virtua Fighter 5 eSports. Super dope. Looking forward to it. Anything else we want to say on it?
I just want to hear Akira's theme again because, man, that goes hard. Ride the Tiger goes hard.
All right. Next, Steve. How many dashes can you do in Fexel? Actually, I'm posing this question to both of you. Sharpie, Steve, how many dashes can you do in Fexel?
I've never played.
Steve?
See, I have trouble with dashes, but I could always do another dash.
Yeah, there's not enough, so they added another dash. Fexel, another dash is coming out on May 20th.
So that was a lot of setup for that joke, Elon.
I saw where he was going, and I tried to get him there, but
we got there.
So yes, May 19th, May 20th, depending on where you are in the world, is when the another dash update will hit for Fighting EX Layer. So
exciting. You're
only a couple weeks away from that, getting your hands on a new, updated, Goji-less version of Fexel.
Or not.
That's a significant change.
Yeah, that's crazy. I used to always play the Goji where the deck where you have to get beat up a lot, and then I think it's called Miracle, because then you get like infinite armor and infinite a bunch of stuff, and that game's crazy when that stuff happens. I can't wait. So we're gonna leave our thought. We were planning on giving our thoughts of the MK movie. We're gonna leave it for next week. We can talk about the MK movie next week. We're running out of time here because we have the biggest thing that we have not talked about yet that we need to talk about, and that was something that was announced today, if I'm not mistaken.
A few hours before the podcast, actually.
Yeah, it was this afternoon, and it is that we have an event that is coming our way. A new fight is coming, whatever. Anyway, Combo Breaker announced the event, not the tournament, mind you, but the event called Look Alive. And it is going to be, oh, Steve, you left some alpha on there. That's cool. Hi.
I thought
it's okay. It's fine. We're good.
It has arms, bro. That's so cool.
Anyway, Look Alive was announced today.
Coming to grab ya. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh shoot! Does that mean Combo Breaker is a grappler?
Oh no!
Oh my god!
Anyway, let's talk about Look Alive. Look Alive is a digital festival and apparel release event coming this year in lieu of Combo Breaker, and it is going to be from Rick the Hotto himself on Twitter, as he said. Let me go ahead and do this and then do this. Sorry. Rick.
It's okay.
That's what I thought you were going to do. That's why.
That's all right.
I'm trying.
Rick has said that this is basically a big celebration of everybody who's been helping keep the FGC competitive scene alive without the ability of having offline events through these past 2 years. So they have collaboration with a bunch of tournament organizers, content creators, including one that is on this screen right now.
2, I thought.
2?
Oh, just me?
Just you. It's just you. I am not Sage and my seg skills are pretty good.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, top
I'm right
billing.
there on the very first one in the big font. Like that blows my mind. It's a big deal for me. Like I know it's really silly, but I'm like literally losing my mind at that. That's the biggest blow up to me. I'm like right there. And I'm like, I don't even have to search for my name underneath.
You did it. You've made it. To Combo Breaker Look Alive. Sorry, that was really cheesy. I apologize for that one.
It's okay. It made me smile.
But yeah, so we don't know too much about it aside from that it's going to be just a giant celebration. We have a bunch of this is in collaboration with a bunch of tournament organizers who run weeklies, monthlies, regionals, etc., etc., etc. I know for sure Wednesday Night Fights and NLBC are on there, along with a bunch of others, including Battle Royale Theater, which is run by Texas local Tommy Two Step. It's a Third Strike tournament. So I don't know what this event's going to be like, but it's looking like it's going to be a pretty cool celebration of everything FGC and our survival during these very tough times.
So one of the big things that they're talking about is, and I want to get the wording on this right, because they're talking about Rick Thayer, lead organizer of Combo Breaker, aka the Hotto. In describing it, he says he's combining, quote, money matches, documentaries, scratch routines, combo vids, skits, interviews, merch drops, live event announcements, and more to show love for everyone's efforts these past 2 years and start tuning up for the years ahead, end quote.
Yeah.
So you're going to have you expect to see a lot of exhibitions, like some first to tens, some combo, obviously combo exhibitions. You're going to see a lot of cool stuff from a lot of different people. And I'm really excited to see this different take on that. Obviously, last year they did the retrospective, which I think was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that was really. It was like watching a Combo Breaker documentary. Honestly, it was very, very good. And I mean, you already said it. Like videos, skits, interviews, merch drops, like even live event stuff. Like Climax is on here. The Jazzy Circuit, Next Level, Vampire Arcadia. There's so many. There are also small video groups like Lunar Phase. The Skullgirls tournament by Munoz was added on here. Like, shoot, I'm a Skullgirls content creator and I'm on here. Like there are so many people in so many different communities at this event, and I really feel like I'm excited because to me, this is like one of those little specials you would see on PBS. Like late at night when they needed to fund money and everybody would come there and they'd be like, here's a variety show of like, all these famous entertainers, except they're all fighting games. And it's really cool to me. I am super excited for this. And I hope everyone's really excited to see my very funny videos that I made specifically for this that I've been working all month on.
I'm trying to zoom and enhance here so we can get a really good look at who's going to be at this thing. So here are the content creators. And it's cool that they're doing, content stuff too. It's not just, the players. It's about the content. They have a lot of big names. Of course, the biggest name on there, DaPurpleSharpie. And we have friend of the show, Hold Back to Block. That's Esteban, the person who made the KI documentary, along with a lot of really cool other documentaries. We have the usuals. We have Sajam. We have the new usual, Saint Cola, who has been doing a great job commentating for CPT. Jay Chenzer in there. We have Brian F. Combo Vid,
TVFGC.
Say it one more time.
TVFGC is a big one. TVFGC.
Gotcha.
They've been doing weekly content and little digest videos and posting them on Twitter and YouTube almost every single week of this quarantine, actually. Crazy. Ever since we first started back, they started like in 2018. They've been doing it very frequently. Very nice.
Awesome.
You guys are missing the big one. The biggest name on there.
Bob Saget?
No. Although that might be no. Up and to the right.
Mike 2600?
Right next, just below that.
The Popcorn Baron.
The Popcorn Baron.
I saw that. I was so... What's happening? I need to know what the collab is.
If y'all ain't been to Combo Breaker, y'all ain't seen the lines that Popcorn Baron gets whenever he gets that new flavor, you got that spicy jalapeno. It just nuts flavors that you would not expect on popcorn. He makes it work. I know he just got some professional equipment not too long ago to make larger batches. So I am super excited to see what that is. You know, we can talk about the community. It's awesome. We can talk about all of this. This is the highlight for me. Give me that popcorn. I want some popcorn. Give me that damn popcorn.
Dude, do you think he'll be able to ship popcorn now?
He's already doing it.
Excuse me? Where do I buy?
You can purchase it on his Twitter. He has a website and everything.
Sorry for screaming. That was just such a big surprise. I'm gonna, as soon as the show's over, I'm gonna buy it now.
Okay, so first of all, yeah, he fundraised the new equipment, or I should say crowdfunded / received all of it through sales and his website, and then immediately said, by the way, you can buy it here. I remember that, because I was like, I should buy myself some popcorn. And I was like, ooh, I don't really got money like that. Yeah, give me 1 second.
I will live like a king.
It's just for anybody listening, it's www.thepopcornbaron.com.
Sick. I'm gonna die of popcorn overdose for the next couple of days. All right. And here are the TOs that are going to be taking that are going to be involved with this. You know, we have Next Level Battle Circuit, Vampire Arcadia. Thank you for being there. Wednesday Night Fights, DMC 3v3, KI stuff. That's Devil May Care. Garage Gear, Melty Index, online, the online local. Who else is on here? I mentioned Battle Royale Theater. There they are. Combat Club.
TSB.
Yeah, TSB there. I did see Team Stickbug. Casa Fridays, of course. Low Kick Esports. Good Game Goons. That's I'm pretty sure that's oh my god, the commentator with dreads. Why can I not remember his name?
Hell Pockets?
Yes, Hell Pockets. Thank you. Right? Is that Hell Pockets' thing? Game Goons?
Game Goons. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I was getting so pissed that I could not remember Hell Pockets' name.
No
Fatal
problem.
Fridays is on there too. Play Guilty Gear. DreamHack Community.
Patrick Miller actually quote retweeted that and just said play Guilty Gear, and I was like, bruh, how did you do it? Teach me.
But anyway, these are heavy hitters when it comes to local and regional TOs that are going to be involved with this thing, so I cannot wait. And I know what you're thinking. You're asking, when is this heavenly festival of all things FGC and amazing happening? It's going to be May 29th and May 30th. So look alive out there for Look Alive Combo Breaker presentation powered by Astro.
This is the last I'm going to say because I know we only have a couple of seconds, but I'll give Steve 30 seconds to respond to this. All of this is being powered by Astro, which is a nice way of saying it's being sponsored by Astro. Astro is not a gambling website. They are an equipment model based, and they're able to help us create something like this, so it's totally feasible. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
I'm not saying it's impossible for other companies to come in. I'm just saying there's not a whole lot of companies that can come in and get something like that. Astro, thank you for the work you do. I wish there were more of you, but there aren't more of you right now. Mm-hmm. Remember Mad Cats?
RIP.
I will just say, I personally very much so enjoy my A40s with custom ear tags that are actually removable, detachable, and the sound quality is just so fantastic. Big fan of those by Astro Gaming.
Oh, what's that over there to the right? Just conveniently located so you can see the ear cups of the headset that is not an Astro that I'm wearing because we're not sponsored by them yet.
I was trying to get you the Astro sponsorship, my guy.
If they wanna do that, they're free to email us at bestofeshow@gmail.com.
Dude, I got
HyperX, baby. Hit me up.
Y'all talking about authentic stuff? I got a book of knockoff recipes, copycat recipes. This is, and honestly, I made the PF Chang, chicken lettuce wraps. delicious. I'm telling you.
Speaking of delicious, Steve, do we want to tease something that's coming down the line?
Not yet.
Okay.
There may be something coming down the line.
There is something delicious that
I'm
might
really
be coming down
excited
the
about.
line.
But
I'm excited about it too.
But that's for another time.
That is
Another
for
week.
another episode because we are out of time.
We
I'm
had
sorry.
so much news this week. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I keep cutting you guys off. I feel like today. Not that I don't feel like every other day. I feel like every day.
As you should, as a birdie player. Just saying.
I don't play birdie.
Oh, you know what? You just did a birdie cosplay. That's
yeah,
what
it was
That's
voted on
why
by the people. I had to do it, and I'm never doing it.
I just assumed you would only do it if you really loved the character that much, not that you were able to be bought and sold, Elon.
Hey, I can always be bought and sold by our audience who chooses to spend their time with us here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central at twitch.tv/bestofvshow.
And we appreciate when you do. We love you.
That was a good burn. I deserve that. Yeah. Thank you, viewers. I appreciate you. Regardless to what I just said, you're right.
Yeah. All in all, it's all fun and games here. No ill will towards anybody yet. But that's been our episode. We are out of time. The alarms are ringing. They're not ringing. I didn't set an alarm, but it is 7:31. So for today's episode of Best of 5, I have been Elon. Here's my Twitter information. This over here is the main squeeze, the king of the aces, ace king offsuit Jurek. I almost messed up your name, but I saved it.
With my awesome book.
With your awesome book. And for those of you that are listening, it just says restaurant recipes on the cover, and it looks very fancy.
Secret restaurant recipes. Secret.
Secret restaurant recipes that they don't want you to know. Speaking of recipes, we also have the recipe for success on our show, the lovely and talented DaPurpleSharpie, top billing.
Here's the award they gave me literally for getting top billing on that poster. They said, Sharpie, we're so proud of you. We're going to send this to you and it'll be there by the end of the stream. So, thank you again for that. Wow, I don't feel like I deserve it. I feel like literally this is past due, So just thank you to everybody who hated on me.
That's impressive that they A, made the announcement and then B, sent you that one-day shipping.
5 hour shipping, actually.
5 hour shipping. It got that 5 hour shipping on lock. All right. That's it for us today. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Look forward to it. Now you both say your outros.
Every podcaster has a sign-off phrase.
Good night, Canada.
All right, bye.